Discipleship is an intentional one-on-one relationship using time, accountability, and encouragement to make change in the life of a believer, resulting in sanctification, evangelism, and of course, more disciples. Today we're going to pick apart just a little bit what it looks like to do discipleship. What is discipleship? I want to start with just a few pointers, just a few ideas about discipleship. The first is discipleship normally starts a conversion, but sometimes it can start even sooner with the goal being conversion. We can start to disciple a student thinking, man, I don't know if this kid knows Jesus yet, but my hope is that eventually he will or she will. So it usually starts conversion. The goal can be conversion and then leading on to what we call sanctification, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Discipleship is a relationship that really should never end. It really should never end. If it has to end at some point, it should be passed on. It should be, well, I can't disciple the student anymore because I'm moving or because this is happening or that's happening, and we should pass them on to someone else. Say, I'd like you to start this discipleship relationship with the student. And here's the big one. Everyone needs discipleship. Not just our students, we need discipleship. Everyone needs someone in their life who's going to come alongside them and is going to drive them to Jesus Christ. It is so important that every single person seeks at some point or continually throughout their life discipleship. A couple things about discipleship just to kind of introduce us. The first is this: discipleship is intentional. It's an intentional relationship. And a relationship with a constant goal in mind. For a while I was doing this thing called CrossFit, and you would go into this gym and you would have these trainers who would come alongside you, and they would be teaching you how to do your workouts, right? And they were super friendly and super nice, but their goal was not to be my buddy. Their goal was to get me from this fitness goal to the next, And so when I showed up, it wasn't just like, hey, how are you? Let's talk about your life. Let's smile and laugh and do a little gossip and all this. There was a little bit of smiling and laughter, and there was a little bit of this kind of relationship building, but it always came back to the goal. How are you doing in your workouts? How are we gonna move you forward in your time working out? And discipleship has to be intentional. When we hang out with that student, it has to be because we're trying to grow them closer to Jesus. We can't just hang out and not bring up Jesus, not bring up how they're growing, not bring up how they're changing. It has to be this intentional relationship. Here's the thing. We can't have the goal without the relationship, or the relationship without the goal. Let me say it again. We can't have the goal without the relationship, or the relationship without the goal. Do you understand what I'm saying? If our goal is for these kids to grow closer to Christ, but we don't build that relationship with them, we're never going to be able to draw them there. But we can't just build a relationship and never draw them closer to Christ. It has to be both. We have to build a relationship with them for the purpose of growing them closer to Jesus Christ. Otherwise, it won't be discipleship. Discipleship has to be intentional. Every time we meet, every time we see someone, there has to be an intentionality to bringing them closer to Jesus, along with a relationship building that's taking place. Just to finish up, let's talk real briefly on this idea of one-on-one discipleship. One-on-one discipleship is something that I believe is absolutely key that we're spending this one-on-one time with a student, telling a student, you are important enough for me to spend time with just you, time teaching just you, time learning about just you, not in a group setting, but just you and I. And we're going to do some stuff in a group setting too. I'm going to hang out with you and your buddies, and we're going to do big church gatherings where we have events, where we have our whole small group. We have groups of people that are kind of doing discipleship together, but also you and I are going to spend time one-on-one where you can be real with me. You can tell me what's really going on in your life and in your heart, what your struggles are, without fear of people around you. It's going to be a safe time where you can talk to me about anything, and I'm going to listen, and I'm going to hear, and I'm going to respond. One-on-one discipleship is intentional, and it's a relationship with a goal that will bring students to Jesus Christ.